welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, September 6th, 2018. I'm Yvette Bowens with the details. Government has granted a waiver to allow importers of fuel to source the commodity from sources other than Trinidad. In a ministerial statement at today's meeting of the House of Assembly, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves said that Cabinet approved a waiver request for Rubis and Sol to import fuel from sources other than Petrotrin, which is facing imminent closure. Dr. Gonsalves said he has since informed CARICOM and lodged a formal application for the waiver of the common external tariff.
The Secretary General of CARICOM that there would be a formal application, but that application will normally take between 2 to 3 weeks to be processed. But countries can't wait on that period of time, and certainly not in the case of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where these purchasers don't have storage capacity for beyond a 3-week period or thereabouts, so that it's a very important decision which was taken by Cabinet.
Dr. Gonsalves said he has informed the local suppliers of fuel of this development, and he has been assured that there will be no shortage and the price is unlikely to be increased.
I have raised the matter as to whether, with the managers locally, one is pretty sure that it is unlikely that there would be any increase in price as a consequence of going elsewhere. For instance, the transportation costs. The other one wasn't so sure. But we have a formula for the build-out, and we would apply that, and we'll keep the community, the country, informed.
Dr. Gonsalves explained that the waiver is similar to that granted to countries following Petrocarib's suspension of its agreements with Caribbean countries. The Prime Minister also gave the assurance that there is an adequate supply and therefore no shortage is anticipated.
With PDVSA, we built the Hugo Chavez fuel and distribution plant. For diesel, 22,000 barrels storage capacity, gasoline 10,000 barrels, jet A1 fuel, which could also be used for diesel, 2,500 barrels, and for liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, the cooking gas, 2,500 barrels. That storage facility provides roughly 3 months' supply. So I want to assure this House that there ought not to be any disruption in respect of supply as a consequence of the closure of Petrotrin.
In an interview with SVG-TV News earlier this week, Elroy Edwards, country representative and accounts executive of Rubis, said they intended to source fuel from St. Croix and the Bahamas. Shareholders of the regional airline LIAT met earlier this week to finalize an agreement for the restructuring of the airline. Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves, LIAT's chairman, reporting on the outcome at today's sitting of Parliament, said the meeting was fruitful. He explained that one of 3 options was accepted but did not elaborate. He, however, pointed out that the Caribbean Development Bank has signaled its support towards the restructuring of the airline.
And we conclude our discussion on the technical committee report of LIAT. And we have adopted one of the 3 restructuring options for LIAT, which was proposed and which has the support of the CDB. And the CDP has undertaken, both in respect of its advocacy position and also as a lending institution, to address certain matters in respect of that restructuring plan.
LIAT has had several meetings with the shareholders, and Dr. Gonsalves said another meeting is scheduled to be held in St. Vincent late next month.
On October the 22nd, the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines will be hosting here a consultation with all the stakeholders connected with LIAT, including other governments and territories which are served by LIAT. There are 15 of them, to see if they can get involved in this restructuring plan as we going forward.
The Ministry of Agriculture has set up a technical committee to advise on sustainable alternatives to 3 chemicals for which importation has been suspended. The ministry last month announced that it was suspending the importation of Roundup, Touchdown, and Glyphosate, which are widely used by farmers. Minister of Agriculture Saboto explained in the House of Assembly this morning the role of the technical committee.
The Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, the FAO of the United Nations, and AICA have been requested to provide support to the Ministry of Agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to conduct a full chemical analysis of these products. The Ministry of Agriculture has launched a national sensitization program with all stakeholders within the sector.
Minister Caesar said that inspections were done at the 3 distributors, namely Greenfinger, Garden Supplies, and the Agricultural Warehouse Input Limited, to ascertain what quantities of the chemicals were available. While there is no Touchdown and Roundup in stock, glyphosate remains in large quantities.
Greenfinger, Garden Supplies as of yesterday had 0 Roundup for sale, no Touchdown, but 80 units of glyphosate valued at $2,800, $35 per unit. And the Agricultural Input Warehouse has no Roundup for sale, no Touchdown, but some 2,040 units of glyphosate valued at $61,200, a unit cost of $30 per unit.
The technical committee will submit a final report on its findings by October. The minister also used the opportunity to caution farmers to adhere to the warnings provided in their handling of chemicals. As SVG continues to grapple with the recent spate of homicides, the family of the latest victim is asking why. Rodney George, a 50-year-old security guard of Victoria Village, was found dead around midday last Saturday in a bathroom at the business place in Villa where he worked the night shift. He had stab wounds to the neck. SVG-TV News spoke with George's sister, who described her brother's death as a tragic event for the family. Barvin Oliver has more.
Rodney George's family is asking one question: why? Evelyn George Ryan, George's sister, describes her brother as a kind, upstanding individual who was loved by members of the community. She said her brother was the primary caregiver of their 80-year-old bedridden mother.
Discipline, that was him. Don't like to see they do wrong and, misbehave, being disrespectful. He didn't like that at all. That was his main thing, is that he'd love to see decency. Do the right thing. This is not how it's supposed to be. Do that. Do this. And for his mother, he was the one, when everybody out for work on mornings early, he would be the one home, and he comes from work, he take over from my sister will leave afternoon, because I go for 7, she go for 8. So he would take over and do the cooking and whatever else she wants during the day until I might reach back about 3, before 3, so I take over from if any other things to do. And then my sister live with her. I live by myself. So I will do whatever until the one who live with her get back.
Ryan said her brother's death has put a strain on the family, and they must now try to fill the void he has left. She said her mother is not taking the news well.
To think about who is going to have to look for somebody, because my mother kind of all the persons, they don't like this person, don't bring it in, so we have to know and look for somebody to do the caretaking, looking after her during the day until somebody get back. Okay. So
how is your mom taking it?
Right, so that's why I say I don't want her to do this, keeping it as far as possible from her, because my mother is 85, my mother can't take it, she ain't taking it well at all. So the day they say I was at work and she keep calling, oh, I didn't see him yet. About 5 after 5 we normally leave home, she called, how come Rodney come and put me over in my bed? Before he leave, he does do that. How come he ain't come here? Nobody could tell me, because we wasn't sure as yet what happened, because we didn't see anybody call us until we have to do all the ups and downs until we make sure what happened, where he is and all that, until we find out that he was the security guard. Was okay.
Fighting back tears, George Ryan, however, had some words for those who ever took a brother's life.
Why did he do it? Why? My brother didn't deserve it, because he left for war with the intention to come back to meet his mother. He left her 85-year-old mother home. He know he have to come back to meet her. He expect her. So why they have to do that? They go and do what they have to do. In the first place, why you have to steal? Why you have to go and rob somebody's business place? And you meet one person there securing the place. Oh Christ, take what you want and go. You don't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. And
George's death was the 21st homicide for the year. No one has yet been charged for his death. Police is asking for the public support in providing whatever information they may have that could be helpful in their investigations. For SVG-TV Evening News, I am Bavin Oliver.
Past students of the St. Joseph's Convent, Maracon, are being encouraged to come out and support the ongoing activities being held to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the institution. This as the Alumni Committee prepares to hold its last two events since they began activities to celebrate the important milestone. Grenville John, a past student and member of the 50th Anniversary Committee, tells SVG-TV News that next Monday, 10th September, the first of these events will be held. It is the annual lecture to memorialize a former late principal, Sister Patricia Ann Douglas, who died in an accident in Barbados. The lecture on economic growth of the Eastern Caribbean Union, which will be delivered by Dr. Garth Nichols, an economist and past students of the school.
At this lecture, we have an individual with wide-ranging experience who is going to treat with this topic and be able to give us an OECS perspective and be able to guide us as to the direction in which we are to go. I mean, we could ask the question whether we are on the right path in terms of our whole economic outlook. We could ask the question whether, you know, our developmental goals are pointed in the right direction. We could ask, how are we managing the effect of the global vulnerabilities, etc. All these questions, I think, and more will be answered at the lecture.
John said the committee will also host an award ceremony on the 15th of this month where persons who contributed to the development of the school will be recognized.
And so the school being present in the community act as I say, an inspiration to the people. And it brought high hopes for them in terms of quality education. And the school deliver sound and rounded quality education to the people. And so there is a sense of satisfaction. And when you have that sense of satisfaction, it is important to recognize persons who would have contributed to that sort of achievement. And so once the 50th anniversary was near, it was always felt that part of the celebration should be recognizing those who would have contributed over the years.
The 50th Anniversary Committee members said both activities give past students the opportunity to give back to the school.
The school would have laid the foundation. A number of individuals, having gone to secondary school, would have pursued further studies at university level, tertiary level, and would have attained high status and so on in society. but the foundation that was gained at the school should always be recognized and acknowledged. And so it is important that the past students, come together with the school to celebrate and also to, as we say, give back in terms of acknowledging the contribution that the school would have made to their whole personal development.
The committee began the 50th anniversary activities in September last year, which included a church service, a cultural evening, and the establishment of a photo gallery featuring past and present principals, as well as the institution's founder. Government has made provisions to accommodate the more than 30 students from the privately run Canawan Pelican School. That school is located on private property of 2 investors. In a ministerial statement at today's meeting of the House of Assembly, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves said that the government-run school on Canawan has adequate space to accommodate the students and teachers have been informed to make the necessary adjustments.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for the Grenadines Affairs, Mr. Pompey, who had called this particular meeting a few weeks ago and informed all the relevant stakeholders in this matter that the government has space at the Canawan Primary School to accommodate all 30-odd students over 5 years old attending this primary school. In other words, we will fulfill and satisfy our obligations.
Dr. Gonsalves said that should the 2 investors again ask for their property, the children will not be displaced. While the children of primary school age can be absorbed into the government-run school, the Prime Minister said the same is not the case for the preschool, which is privately operated. He said a final decision is left with the parents, noting that there are other private preschools on the island.
As far as the preschools are concerned, I've been advised that there are 3 preschools in Canawan which could accommodate these 11 or 12 children. I should point out that I've been advised that most of these children in the Pelican School, they are children from Canawan, but there are some children of expatriate parents.
Dr. Gonsalves said the government is obligated to ensure that children from 5 years up have access to education, and he has addressed the teachers at the Canawan Pelican School on the position of the government.
There was some suggestion that teachers from that school will go to the primary school. Well, that suggestion was not entertained by us at all. We have our teachers and we will teach within our own primary school system, as in fact the thousands of children across this country.